So we need these little moments throughout our day, and they may only be for a moment, but we do need that connection with Source. We need to plug ourselves in the same way as we plug in all our gadgets to be re-infused, energized with the truth that keeps us bubbly and vibrant and expressing all the good that we are. Oh, how lovely that is. So don't sell yourself short, my dear ones, during the day. Pause for a moment here and there and reconnect. It doesn't have to be a long length of time at all. Seconds will do it. I remember now I'm in the presence, and the presence is in me, and the presence is flowing through me magnificently. Whatever it is that reminds you and gives you that lift, like a cup of tea might, and so on. It's a sweet thing. And you and I are engaged in many rituals throughout the day. I know that for me, making a cup of tea is a ritual, and it always makes me feel good. And it's just a symbology, that's all. But whatever it is that does that for you, well, enter into that practice often, as long as it's doing no harm to you or anybody else. And so would you believe, my dear ones, I came across this little book that I've had for a long time, and this is a little book by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. The copyright on this is 1902, and the name of it is The Heart of the New Thought Movement. And she is so very simple, straightforward, down to earth. This is how it is, this is what results as a result of understanding this, embodying this, and applying this. Now again, your challenge and my challenge, it seems to me, all the time, it's not just the knowing of something and the embodying of something, it's the applying what we know and have embodied. That's what gets us. That's what gets us. Because we're like little will-o'-the-wisps. We're all over the place. We're here, we're there, you're in our minds. The mind is all over the place, shooting all over the place. For most people, most of the time. And until you and I are able to get a handle on our minds, we're not going to get much of a handle on our lives, I can assure you. It's all in the mind, and it's all about the mind and how we use it. But I loved this little ancient and ever new book. And the first page I opened was actually the first page of the book. And the piece was entitled, Let Go the Past. Let the past go. Let the past go. Because she's coming from a space where new beginnings are available to us all of the time, and that we're always beginning something. Have you noticed that? We're always beginning something. We go from this to this to this to this, so we leave that to begin this, we leave that to begin this, we leave that, and so on. So beginnings are very important in our lives, and they are copious in our lives. But to begin something, I have to leave something else, don't I? Yes. It's a fun thing to think about. So she says, do not begin the new day, the new month, the new week, the new year, whatever, by recounting to yourself or others all your losses and sorrows. Let the past go. Leave it, as I like to say, behind you, where it belongs. All of it, good, bad, and indifferent. She says it is your mind which makes your situation good, bad, or indifferent. It is your mind which makes your body sick. Let the spirit assert itself and demand health and hope and happiness in the next new thing. She's talking about the new year, but I'm saying the next new thing. Now listen, we don't plead and beg and request and ask over and over and over again of the law of mind. We don't demand anything of the law of mind. We don't have to. What we do with the law of mind is we command it. We command it. It's different to demanding. If I can demand all I like and I may or may not get what I, demand. The likelihood is I won't. But if I'm commanding something, it means I'm in charge. And when I command the law of mind, which just means the way my mind works, to think upon a specific line of thought with a specific intention in mind, and I absolutely have faith in the process, that's going to happen. I'm going to have the outcome I so am convicted of. So that's why I use my mind. That's the way you use your mind if you want to get the results that you want. You think along a certain line of thought that has to do with the certain conviction that you have in mind, and then you state it. Remember, we do not beg, plead, or ask. We state the good that we desire. This is how you command the law. And then you state that in mind. I am knowing right here and right now that everything within me is open and receptive to my health and well-being. And there is no thing to step in the way of this that I know to be the truth. Because I am open to, I'm absolutely ready for this feeling of healthfulness. And there is that power within me that responds to what I know and am deeply convicted of, and moves upon what I'm knowing and feeling and attesting to right now to open up the ways for this to be my experience. And I support it. And I acknowledge all the appearances to the contrary. I do. They're very real. I acknowledge them, but they're the facts of the moment. They're not the truth of my being. They are the facts of the moment and not the truth of my being. The truth of my being is that there is within me that power, that infinite powerful essence and energy ready to move upon what I know to be true, what I attest to be true, what I am convicted and convinced of is true. Because the law of mind responds to me by corresponding to what I'm knowing and what I'm feeling, no matter what. Contrary to all the outer evidence that says you're out of your mind if that's what you think is going to happen. In spite of the evidence against what I am attesting to on the outer world, on that platform, in spite of that, this power, this presence will forge a way, open a way for me in the face of amazing impossibilities in the outer world, so that I can indeed express and experience what I am knowing to be the truth for me. But that's what it takes. The power of clarity, the power of intention, the power of conviction, and my ability to withstand myself in that energy and mindset until things are turning around, opening up, and showing me that it's happening. See, that's what it takes. That's why all the scriptures of all the religions you'll study will tell you faith is essential. Faith. The belief in something when there's no evidence to back it up. The conviction of it when there's absolutely nothing from out there to reassure you that you're on the right track. It's you knowing and knowing and knowing and feeling and feeling and feeling and stating and stating and stating, not listening to anything from within yourself, your egoic mind, or outside that would have you think otherwise. There has to be a consistency for this fluidic flow. Isn't it wonderful? And it's available to every single person on the planet. Amazing. And this just works for everything, not just for one thing. It'll work for, it'll work for your fullness and your prosperity of all kinds, prosperity of mind, prosperity of heart, prosperity of body, prosperity of creativity, prosperity in the great, great big body of all of your affairs. And prosperity is that sense of fullness, enoughness, a feeling of all being well. I have everything I need, and then some. That's what the teaching is all about. She says, forget the money you have lost, the mistakes you have made, the injuries you have received, the disappointments you have experienced. Forget them all. They're behind you. Don't keep allowing them to pull you down, weaken you, and causing you to feel unable. Real sorrow, the sorrow which comes from the death of dear ones, or some great cross well borne, you need not forget. But think of these things as sent to enrich your nature and to make you more human and sympathetic. Nowadays we would say empathetic. You are missing them if you permit yourself instead to grow melancholy and irritable. That's to miss somebody in a negative way. Believe it or not, you can miss somebody in a positive way. Sorrow is no respecter of persons. Say to yourself with the beginning of every new thing and day and moment that you are going to consider all your troubles as an education for your mind and soul, and that out of the experiences which you have passed through, you are going to build a noble and splendid character and a successful life. So we can allow our sorrow and sadness to really sink us or to raise us up. The choice is always ours. And she says, furthermore, do not tell yourself that you are too old. Age is all imagination. Ignore years and they will ignore you. It's hard for people in America to do that because everything on the television tells you you're getting old, and because you're getting old you need this cream, you need this potion, you need this lotion, and all the rest of it. It's not very affirming, what we hear in these ads. She says, ignore. Ignore. I love that. Ignore it, and it will ignore you. It won't have an effect on you that is a negative effect. I mean, you listen over and over again. You can't avoid it sometimes. Of course, you can turn it off as soon as you hear these things. Here's the latest new thing, and this is what you have to do, and that and the other, and be sure, and, blah, blah, blah. And this is the best of all things. Nobody else has discovered this, and all those other people who are selling you all this other stuff that really is not up to standard and certainly doesn't bring the results about that they promise you. But this one does. This one does. None of that is any good, you understand, outside, even if it is super duper at doing whatever it does, if you don't feel aright, if you don't think aright, if you don't know how young you are. If you think you're getting old, you're getting old, and it will show up for you. If you know you are always youthful and young of heart and mind, you'll always have energy and be able to live the life you want to live. It's all, remember, in the mind. It's in the mind. So she says, here's what is a good idea. Eat moderately, bathe freely, and she says, bathe in water as cold as nature's rainfall. I love the way she expresses. This is 1902. Exercise thoroughly and regularly. You see, if we were doing this, my dear ones, we wouldn't have to buy the lotions and the pills and the potions and the machinery that we think we need in order to keep our bodies young. If you keep your mind young, you will keep your body young, we are told. Now, imagine if you were taught that from the time you were knee-high to a grasshopper, and I was too. I think our lives would be different in a most wonderful way. But we're looking for quick fixes. We don't want to enter into the endeavor. We don't want to get up out of our chairs and move. We don't want to pay attention to what we're eating. We want to eat whatever it is we want to eat, etc. And that's a sovereign choice. And nobody will criticize that in this teaching anyway, because you're a sovereign being and you get to choose your sovereign choices. That's your choice. And your life is your life, yours to command, yours to treat however you're going to treat it. But if you're a spiritually awakening person and you want to live your best life, you understand that it has components. It has a mental component. It has an emotional component. It has a physical component. It has a spiritual component. These are the 4 quadrants in the circle of life. Your mentality, your emotionality, your physicality, your spirituality, and all of them need your attention and mine too. So there's no use complaining and wishing if we're not willing to do what it takes in order to keep all those quadrants healthy and maintained and sustained in good ways. She says, never for an instant believe that you could be permanently disabled. The young men of France are studying alchemy, hoping to learn the secret of the transmutation of gold. 1902, this is. If you will study your own spirit and its limitless powers, you will gain a greater secret than any alchemist ever held, a secret which shall give you whatever you desire for your good. Think of your body as the silver jewel box, your mind as the silk lining, your spirit as the gem. Keep the box burnished and clear of dust, but remember always that the jewel within is the precious part of it. Think of yourself as on the threshold of unparalleled success, a whole, clear, glorious way before you. In a time now, once you make up your mind, that can regain your health, your fortune, your restfulness, your happiness. Push on, she says, push on. Achieve, achieve. Just love the spirit of this woman. And she was one of the early metaphysicians in New Thought. So, I know in the world, there's all kinds of worrisome things happening. I know that maybe in all of our lives there are worrisome things happening. But just boil it down to one little point here of light and power. You in your own life, in your own living. And look to that and see what's going on in that. And then, my dear ones, just decide to do one little new thing. Commit to one little change that will open up the portal for the energy to build, to create a nucleus of power around which every other little change will collect and gather and grow into great eventual momentum when you will just take the whole thing on and succeed this time. But only one little change at a time will do it to the greatest effect in the end. One little thing, one little change that would help your life and give you a sense of, I'm doing it, I'm accomplishing, I'm getting to it, it's happening. Because you can, because you are the power through which the infinite and all of its magnificence can radiate itself through you if you get out of the way, open up the outlet to all of that inlet of grace and power, and let it flow. And then you can rest, relax, and be still, because you can surrender the whole process to the Christ-conscious awareness within you, and it will go forth and prepare the way before you for this good to be experienced and expressed through you. That's how infinite conscious mind works. And it's how you, as an aspect of that, works too. Oh, it's a very good thing. So let's all now commit to ourselves in this moment that we will energize ourselves by just choosing one tiny little thing to change in our lives so that we can feel so much more expanded and have so much more energy and therefore consequently be much more enthused to make that difference that we're here to make. And so it is. And now we are going to be thankful. We're going to go into gratitude. We are going to feel blessed. We are going to feel taken care of. We are going to know that Spirit is our source, and that source never runs dry and is always in a constant state of supply for those of us who are open to receive it. So we take our gift between our blessing hands and we say, divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, to bless, and to prosper all those who give and all those who receive. We rejoice in the releasing of our good. And it's such a beautiful thing to do. And we rejoice in it. And we let it be so as it goes forth to do good. And so it is. So until we meet again, my dear ones, remember, you are the one in your own life that can mend and fix and heal whatever requires it. You are the one in your own life that will accomplish whatever it is you choose to accomplish. You are the one. You're the first and primary one that begins the flow of the energy around the idea to open up the way before it. And if you're not in it, it doesn't matter who around you is in it, it's not going to happen. You are the one. You need to be clear. You need to know for certain. You need to rise up in that sense of I can do it, because you can. And remember our mantra for this year, God is, I am, therefore I can. And so it is. And take care of yourself, be kind to yourself, be good to yourself. And today we're asked with the Season for Nonviolence to make a little difference in somebody else's life. Make somebody else feel good in some way today. Appreciate somebody today. Appreciate somebody today. And I will leave you the way the children always say, farewell, until we gather again. And please stay connected and know we're here for you, however we can be here for you. And please do let us know what that looks like for you. So take good care, enjoy the rest of this wonderful day, and know you're loved and cherished. Mwah, mwah.